Yellow there. So, it's no secret that I love me some horror. I mean, look at me. Duh. And it's no secret that I love finding new indie games and publishers. I stumbled across Fear the Time Loop, and it was almost entirely by chance, but holy shit, man. I loved it. So let me rewind.
What do you mean by that?
Aha, get it? So, in Fear the Time Loop, we play as Sheriff Cooper, who has woken up in an abandoned hospital with a gunshot wound and no clue how he got there. We're hunting a serial killer, and there's cultists outside of the hospital, and there's radio transmissions from our deputy Rose that are conflicting to what we're seeing, and it's all very confusing on purpose, right? On purpose. From the get-go, the atmosphere is tense. We start with nothing, and we feel that oppressive terror that survival horror is known for. The hospital is terrifying, and at every turn, there's new elements to the environment that add to the feeling of something being just around the corner. We get classic dilapidated hospital chic, overturned gurneys, blood and dirt everywhere, abandoned medical equipment. You know, we also get flesh-tastic horror. Fleshy. So fleshy. And the emptiness of normalcy. Some sections are so devoid of the nasty that it becomes horrifying to see. The sound design is incredible. We, the player, are so on edge that we're tuned into each and every little sound that we hear. What the helling at? Why is there a siren? What is happening? What is happening? Where?
Oh, good thing I'm wearing brown pants.
You and me both, bud. You and me fucking both. Unlike a lot of horror, Fear the Time Loop does not use many jump scares, which means that when it does, we are terrified. The basement's so fucking cursed. I hate it here.
Ah! Let's go!
Oh my god! The sound design is a key aspect of that. Of course, the enemies are, as we would expect, nasty. Anything? Oh! Why do you look like that? Why does she look like this? I had to prioritize my inventory space, remember where I found certain things, and of course adjust as new areas unlocked. The game gave us enough to work with, puzzles were challenging but straightforward, ammo and healing items were scarce enough to cause stress, but not so scarce that it felt unfair. There were few times where I felt truly stuck. And it's not because we were being handheld. It's the opposite. Fear the Time Loop trusts the player's intelligence, trusts that the paths will become apparent without hints or yellow paint. That being said, the storyline and unique mechanics help a lot with that. We are stuck in a time loop. We learn quickly that we can manipulate the loop into letting us learn more about our space. There are temporal locks. We keep our knowledge from previous loops and can adjust our failed plans accordingly and use the videotapes to save our progress and gain key items. The games give us just enough to always know what we should be doing throughout subtextual clues and something as simple as find a red tape, use it to save, and you unlock a new area. Which, of course, the use of the tapes in the safe rooms calls to mind one series more than any other.
Resident Evil.
Time Loop is a game that is reminiscent of old school Resident Evil, and it plays with that nostalgia that it brings up in a refreshing way. While playing, I never felt like it was banking on the nostalgia aspect. The inspiration was obvious, the enemies being stuck in one massive convoluted location, the saving mechanics, and of course, survival horror. That being said, while it felt like Resident Evil, all of those feelings were in a good way. It's not, ugh, this is another Resident Evil clone. It was instead, this feels like I'm playing my first Resident Evil game again. And that is due to the attention to detail in the environments, playstyle, and enemy evolution. Ugh! Oh no! Absolutely not! Absolutely not! Don't like that! Please die. Remember how I said it felt like OG Resi? Well, that includes the bad voice acting.
I'm right here! In this damn hospital!
Justice. Forgot them!
Okay, it's not bad, and I don't want to critique too much because it's clear that English is not the native language for the production company, which makes it all the more impressive the level of attention to detail with proofreading, localization, and comprehension. However, admittedly, the voice acting is one of the weakest parts of the game itself. Cooper sounds like Batman at times. Rose sounds too quiet, too calm in all of her inflections. And that being said, in all honesty, aside from the boss fights, the voice acting is the biggest issue I had, and it was nominal at best. Yeah, there are bugs here and there. The combat isn't the easiest. It's just what happens. I'm not going to harp on it. They weren't detrimental to the experience, and were so small I didn't notice them in most cases. Now the boss fights. So I'm a big believer in that any good survival horror game, the combat is miserable. And it should be. I'm not playing an action game. I'm playing a game where I have to weigh out if I use what little ammo I have, or a knife, or do I even risk combat because I'm running low on health items. However, there's a difference between miserable combat and a badly designed boss fight. I very much understand what the intention was behind each fight. There's story-based symbolism in the fight areas as well as the boss design itself. However, the boss fights are both repetitive and confusing. They can be summed up with unload all your ammo and hope for the best. There are some clues as to what you're supposed to do, shoot this specific part that's glowing, but things are damage sponges. Each boss fight lost its tension because of how long it takes to get through them, both in figuring out what to do and how much damage they soak up before moving to the next stage. With those being my major critiques, I will say I think it's pretty safe to say I do like the game. In fact, I loved the game. I was hooked. I know I didn't talk much about the story here, and that's on purpose. The story is critical to understanding Fear the Time Loop, and should I explain too much, it'll lose some of its charm, which, yes, reduces replayability, but that's just the nature of survival horror. If you're looking to support indie devs, especially horror devs, doing what fans have been begging studios to do, please check out Fear the Time Loop. I've put a link to the Steam page below in the description, and of course, please consider giving a like and subscribing to help support your local horror VTuber. Bye now!